Remember, please hit like and subscribe for me. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go.
Hi everyone. Today is Thursday, November the 20th, and this is the Moneyball Morning Report for the Benzinga Pro platform. We begin with the ES, and wow, did Nvidia just knock the cover right off the ball? It's shocking what these guys are doing. It's just truly unbelievable. Because of that, we've got ourselves a great big gap up that is essentially held all morning. Inventory is long in the overnight. What does that mean? It means that buyers are positioned here for some more upside. And if we look to, what day is that? November the 17th, we can see that this bounce action that we had at the base near 67.32 is very important. There's a little bit of noise underneath it at 67.24. That's going to likely be the line in the sand. If we lose that number at 67.24, we are going to be in a potential event where we will fade the gap up. And then we're looking at the inventory box that has a top near 67.07. So, what are the numbers to look at today? Well, number one, we want to make sure the floor holds 67.25. So, dips into that zone are going to give us buying opportunities. But in general, we can see that we are in a buy the dip formation. We are making higher lows in the pre-market. Our VWAP is essentially flat over all the hours of the overnight. And we do have the call wall for the 0 DTEs sitting at 67.50. So what could price action do? Well, a couple of things. If too many people got short Nvidia, they're going to want to cover, and that's going to give us more buying opportunity into the VWAP, and that is around 67.70. We do know that 67.76 is one of those numbers that we need to keep an eye on. Between 67.70 and 67.76, we could have ourselves a fair bit of sideways pressure. And the pre-market high, the prior high we want to focus on after that would be 67.87. Value area high, 68.03. Value area low, 66.36. Where is the put wall? Well, let's recycle this image. Put wall down at 6,500, and that seems to be where the 0 DTE put wall is sitting. You can see that the traders in general did not position their calls up higher, but that is likely to rotate if price action holds above the 67.50 area. Now, 67.50 has been a gamma wall in days past, and we are coming in to visit it one more time today with a likely push up to the north, because remember, once we breach the gamma wall, what the traders will want to do is buy the instrument and then try to force it down at the next area of resistance so that that call wall does not get broken. It is a pretty interesting space so far. There is supply sitting at 67.56, and so buying above those wicks may not be the ideal thing to do. 67.57, also a very important line. We'll move it right there. Happens also to be the anchored VWAP from, let's see, what is today? Thursday, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, from Friday of last week. We want to watch that area. Looks like a pretty good target zone. Dips are buys, again, until we lose 67.25. So you might go, holy cow, lady, that's 25 ES points of risk. Yes, it is. But if we tighten up those edges, we can see that we could easily use the floor of support near, shucks, it won't let me take it. Let me delete this. we can tighten up that floor of support somewhere around 67.40, which is where the VWAP is sitting. So pullbacks into 67.40 give us future upside pressure and takes us, higher. We've got a VWAP at 67.65. This is the day that we were supposed to have this kink in the charts. So I think it's going to be a pretty critical day. Dips certainly over the longer haul will continue to be buy zones. Traders were a little bit worried about Nvidia holding up the market, but true to form, they have saved the day. And so now we are looking at how well they saved the day, but pullbacks will certainly be buy zones. Will inventory try to correct this morning? Yes. I think we're going to get some sort of jobs number. Let's take a look at this. Today's Thursday. We have a delayed employment situation for September. We'll never get October's apparently, but we'll see what September says. I don't know how it's going to drive the market specifically, but I would say that if the dip is significant, they are going to continue with the buy zones. All right, that being said, let's move to the next space. Keep a look at those boxes. They are going to matter in the buy the dip. For right now, the bears have had their full. Right? They are full to the brim. Bottoming formation between yesterday and the day before yesterday. Big inventory event here with the Qs. Now, as we move to the NQ, what are we seeing? This box of inventory, shall we make it a little, let's anchor it right here. And that is somewhat arbitrary, folks. And here I would mean 25,260. That's the upward pressure event. You can see dips or buys. It's generally bullish. The flat VWAP, long inventory into the opening. Momentum is up. Trend is up. Everything looks good. This is probably going to track Nvidia very, very well. Interestingly, Walmart announced, I don't know why, but Walmart announced today they're moving to the NASDAQ. They did have a double beat. And they also said that higher income earners are more frequent shoppers. I don't know how they get that data. They might track credit card and debit card purchases somehow, some way. But they are saying that the higher demographic is shopping with them now. And maybe that's, maybe they're moving away from Target or whatever, but that's the storyboard. Where are the traders headed to right now? I think they're headed to 25,200. Where is the call wall? Interesting. The call wall is now at 25,450. Value area high is our number at 25,250. The weekly call walls, folks, were really positioned for lower prices today, and that's going to make things sticky in terms of how they try to force it. This is the OPEX call resistance in general, right? It's the weekly one, expiring tomorrow and potentially next week. That call wall is 25,000. We are 170 points above it right now, and we're still holding upside pressure. So where does the price action get sticky? It's at the bottom of this inventory box. It seems to me that as long as we hold 25,000, there is upward pressure, but this call wall might have something to say about that. Traders might want to force it back down. I literally do not know what's going to happen today, but I never know what's going to happen each day. My thought is this. We are moving into two seasonally very strong weeks in the market. And so if the dip is extreme, I still believe that buyers come in, all right? If we don't get a dip, you can sort of inch your way out here, watch for the reflexive bounce into value area high that pulls back and gives us a higher low. The point of control is 25,140. If we can pull into that area and sit inside of this accumulation box, That's going to be where the majority of risk sits for the upside pressure event, the zone from 25,126 all the way down to 25,000. And so you want to watch that box very carefully. If you slip in there, it might be better to wait for 25,065 to begin to position. The candlesticks are retracing each other. That's one of the reasons that the VWAP is flat. So we want to give the chart an opportunity to fade to see if inventory can correct somewhat and give us a shot at a better long formation in the grand scheme of things. Okay, anchored VWAP from yesterday, 24,729. We've got 2 boxes of inventory that overlap each other, so very messy price action sitting in here. You want to look at the individual candle formations and prior lows and highs to help us, but the breakaway appears to be somewhere around 24,840. Yeah, pretty crazy. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Wow, also very interesting. So Bitcoin inventory is long into the overnight, but it has lost its VWAP. Where did we go to? Here is an inventory box that we held on Monday, and we still are making lower highs. For those of us that thought, the NAS is going to give the NAS is going to give Bitcoin a bounce floor, what's really important is that we take a look at the inventory box created yesterday. And so that inventory event, oh, son of a gun, my box is not dark enough. Hang on. Oh, for goodness sakes. Let's make that color a little sharper, and let's make the stroke a little bigger from that. You can see this inventory box here is one that begins right over there. So I'm just going to carry this box forward. And what we can see is that the traders are sitting right at the top of that zone. If they get out, and that number is 92,000, I suspect they're going to try and press into 93,151. All the way up, 93,151. If it does that, it's going to go to the top of the box, statistically speaking, 93,825, and then 95,000. What is the chart trying to do? It's trying to get a floor under it. So as long as we hold 91,150, $91,200, this chart has got an updraft, okay? It definitely has an updraft. If I borrow this trend line and I move it across here, you can see that the base of this inventory box is really what we are looking at, okay? So dips or buys, the call walls and put walls are totally out of whack here, not trading in any kind of solid sequence. And so we want to be careful about using those in this market here. But so far, the inventory box is capping at the VWAP area, which is around 92,500. It's going to be pretty sideways in here. If it breaks out, it's going to have further upside. Right now, dips are buys. Dips are in buy formations as long as we hold 91,200. Wait there, get yourself a long. You're in pretty good shape. I already have some longs set up here with a stop just under the anchored VWAP event at 90,400. Okay, let's take a look at oil. Oil pretty sideways. Oh my goodness, talk about sideways. Let's get rid of some of these boxes. Oh, for goodness sakes. Let me expand it. Wow. Let's see if this one gives it to me. Remove all rectangular boxes. Okay. If we take a look at a wide angle, we're still building inventory. Buys sit today at 69.52 on the cheapest side. If we lose 69.50, we probably will have ourselves a little bit of downside pressure. Notice price action is up, but the dips have been significant. This one gapped up, immediately filled the gap, and came into the anchored VWAP of the prior day. That's always a good reason to make sure you're staring that chart level down. It does matter. And right now, price action looks a little bit gappy, right? We've got the point of control at 60. Interesting. We've got the 0 DTE call wall at 60.10. That's very interesting. Value area high, 60.40. Put support at 59.18. And we're sitting in a big, messy patch. So what do we want to do? First resistance line is going to be this call wall at 60.10. If we break through the wall and then pull back and test it, it'll give us a low. You want to do that on a tight time frame. I would suspect that the pullbacks are buy zones here. Better to look for a pullback action event than to chase price action to the north. I just suspect that that would be better, right? No, I'm not for sure, but I suspect that that would be better. Moving on to the upside pressure event here. Okay, so that being said, $60.84 up towards the high. 60.77. We've got a fair bit of inventory sitting between $60.70 and $60.50. It's just something to stare down. I don't like the way oil is trading right now. I would pick another instrument simply because it's very messy and it's in the middle of the range. Just set an alert for somewhere at the highs or the lows. We're still caught in here, right? We are definitely caught in here. What's happening is natural gas continues to move up, and so that's pretty significant. We'll look at nat gas another day as traders really try to get on that bandwagon. Staring down gold, as I mentioned, gold is probably going to sit in this nasty little box pattern over here for quite some time. Let's remove all the rectangular formations. We can see that we've got a pretty big area sitting all the way up at 4,114 and going all the way down to 4034, right? 4,034. Is this a little messy? You betcha. If I use this line, oops. Ooh, I had no idea you could do that. Look at that. You can do them simultaneously. If we stare this down, we can see that there's dip buying. Inventory accumulation occurred in that pre-market event. Notice, big gap up, absolutely fading. It gapped up and then lost the anchored VWAP from the prior day and is testing that anchored VWAP again. Call wall 4,100. Put wall 4,050, 4,060. You can see them chopping in between those spaces, and they're not afraid to bounce above and then lose it, or bounce below and then gain it back. So keep that in your noggin, because even though we've got this one pattern that's shifting up, we have another pattern that's shifting down. And to me, that's pretty messy. Right? I think pretty messy. I want to get rid of that. So that's what we're staring at. Could it be another pattern that breaks higher? Yes, it could. but I doubt it. This is slipping back into some normal range behavior, and so set an alert for around 4,040, bounces 4,115 all the way to 4,134 could be sell zones. Deep dips are buys. They are in this broad pocket, and it should stay here for quite some time. That being said, if per happenstance we drift down, we've got 3,970, call wall 39, big put wall 3,950, and the call wall, larger call wall above is 4,200. If we move up and out, we've got ourselves right up into 4,190. That's where the call wall is sitting. It can be any of these places right now. Messy, very, very messy. You're going to get chopped up if you aren't staring things down incredibly closely. All right? So, hang on 2 secs. We've got to flatten a trade here. Yeah, okay. I should have taken this trade off while I was talking to you guys. Obviously, there's some news coming in. I'm short the ES at the top of the box, and so it's coming in here into the support structure. All right. Did we have some news come out? I don't know. That's inventory. It looks like a little bit of inventory distribution, and that's normal because inventory has been long in the overnight. Taking a look at the SPY, whoa, this one is chopping around the call wall. Very big box. It did gap a little bit, but the floor remains 668. If you're a buyer, you want to make sure it doesn't lose that edge. And if it moves out, we've got 2 pockets of inventory that we could just simply grind through in terms of trend. Dips could come in all the way to this candlestick at 665. So if it does lose 668, just look out, trim your losses, and then wait to regroup if you're going to go long. The put wall for the 0 DTEs is actually below the broad put support event for traders in general, and that I find to be incredibly interesting. So what we want to see is dips that hold the floor. So you're going to look for dip buying pressure. Where might that be? Well, you can see this big pocket of inventory. It's got some leaky sides. So we want to be careful there, but down below 668, it can easily drop to 667, and then the point of control, which is 663. I would say wait for the dips if you want to have a nice long buying event, or wait for the retest of the breakout. And what is that retest? How does it look? The retest of a breakout looks, it breaks out, pulls back, holds the floor, and then you get to move up into the next line of resistance. Overall, we have been trending down, but we broke above that trend line. And so that's something that says, listen, the buyers are trying to hang on. I believe the buyers are going to continue to hang on in this space. And so we just have to wait for that solid dip that gives us a pretty nice buy zone. And if we lose the floor, get out, right? You just have to get out of the trade if we lose the floor. All right, folks, that's it for me. I'll see you on the streams.